Thanks, Joan. Thank you all for coming out. It's been amazing for us as we've gone across the country and had a lot of different kind of dialogues like this to see, to reinforce something that we thought, and that was that there is an enormous appetite in the country for a voice for the vast middle of America, which most people don't feel is being represented today. We've got hyper-partisanship on the left, we've got hyper-partisanship on the right, and if you watch cable television or you go to Washington, you would think that because of the dominance of those voices, that they somehow represent America when they don't. We come to Little Rock or Austin or Chicago, go across America, and we discover that, which I'm going to show you some of the research, that it really doesn't represent America. And the problem is that this is at a time when we face some of our greatest challenges ever historically. We have some of the most pressing, urgent needs that we've ever faced. And at that time when we have these urgent needs, we have a government more paralyzed than ever before because of a lot of reasons, but it is a polarized, hyper-partisan atmosphere in which people are calling the president a liar, in which we have the media is complicit on the left and the right because they're doing it for ratings. Yeah, I'll just give you a quick, I was on a cable talk show recently, and I was kind of talking about this sort of idea about how important it is that we have a dialogue, that we discuss these problems and try and work together in a common effort to solve the problems. We went to the commercial break, and this cable TV talk show host turned to me and said, "Would you cut the bipartisan crap and just throw me some red meat?" You know? That's what we're dealing with. That's how the media is organized and thinking in Washington, D.C. these days. John mentioned the Latin e pluribus unum, out of many comes one. Well, the politics we have today, the Latin for politics is poly, many, ticks, blood-sucking insects. And it's been fascinating to me. I've had an unusual political history because I worked for 15 years for Democrats, and then for the last 15 years I've worked for Republicans. I've always been I call myself a radical centrist. I was once a little left of the line, I'm now a little right of the line. But I'm sort of, it's a very lonely place for me now in the Republican Party because I feel like it's being dominated by Rush Limbaugh and other voices. But I also have the unique distinction, well, I think I'm like a demographic cell of one because I say nice things about both President Bush and President Obama, and I get attacked by both Keith Olbermann and Rush Limbaugh. So, and we're concerned because good people are being driven out of politics, and good people aren't getting into politics anymore. And who can blame them? As you look around the political environment and you see how poison it is, why on earth would anybody want to be in public service? So the real genesis of this effort is we're trying to create a chorus and a representative voice for the millions and millions of America in the vast middle. And that's a pretty loose definition, but I think most Americans find themselves somewhere in that spectrum. We don't expect everybody to agree on everything, but we expect that we can have a civil dialogue. The problem is for anybody who exhibits that kind of behavior, of being civil, of actually talking about principled compromise or extending an olive branch to the other party, they get branded as traitors right now in Washington. And they get punished for their behavior. And they get rewarded for being partisans. Because the only voices out there are Move On the left or the Tea Party on the right, whatever it may be, but there's no voice in the middle that will come out and reward somebody for good behavior. And so that's the idea of no labels. We want to create a voice that represents the vast middle of America so that when these issues come up or people demonstrate bipartisan behavior or cooperation or compromise, that there's something out there, and we're quite confident that that this is millions of people that we could quickly and easily organize. I think that from the people that we've seen that come out to these sort of meetings, I think the numbers are much bigger than the Tea Party, much bigger than Move On, and with enormously vast potential. So that is our goal, and Kiki's going to talk a little bit about specifics in terms of what we're trying to do and when we're trying to do it. But I've been involved in this sort of at least idea for a while, and I've never seen the appetite greater, the potential greater, and this idea, the no labels idea, has got some really good people involved. It's been a very deliberative, methodical process that we've been organizing quietly, and we didn't want to get out too quickly because we wanted to have some of these conversations and get a lot of input before we thought about taking it to a broader playing field. Let me just talk a little bit about some of the numbers here that reinforce some of our thinking. Well, let me just go through this declaration first. This is really how we describe ourselves. We are not labels, we are people. We care deeply about our country. We're frustrated and concerned about the tone of politics. We're passionate about addressing America's challenges. We are Democrats, Republicans, and independents, but most importantly, we are Americans. We believe hyper-partisanship is destroying our politics and paralyzing our ability to govern. We may disagree on issues, but we do so with civility and mutual respect. We believe in the vital center, a place where ideas are judged on their merits. We believe that together we can make the future better and brighter and give us what we all deserve, a government and a political system that works, one driven by shared purpose and common sense. We believe our politics can change so the government will work again and produce better results. The consequences of inaction have never been greater because the issues we face have never been more serious, more complicated, or more dangerous. And yet we have a crisis of governance, a crisis that compels us to work together to move America forward. We have to put our labels aside and put the issues and what's best for the nation first, because a promising future awaits us if we do.